You probably know how the modern DNA test works. You spit in a tube, mail it to a lab, and a few weeks later you get a breakdown of your family history neatly organized into a pie chart. But if you scroll past those percentages, you'll likely spot something much stranger, a robotic-looking string of letters and numbers labeled your maternal haplogroup or paternal haplogroup. To understand what these codes mean, we first have to look at how that pie chart was made. It's built from your autosomal DNA. Think of this as a giant genetic smoothie, blending all your recent ancestors together into a single mix. The problem with a smoothie is that after a few centuries of mixing, the distinct lines of your ancestors wash out completely. It becomes impossible to track any single ingredient back to its original source. But nature left us a workaround. Every person carries two special pieces of DNA that bypass the blender entirely. Instead of mixing, they are passed down perfectly intact from one generation to the next, like a sealed package. Because these specific packages never mix with the rest of your genetic smoothie, they allow us to bypass your recent family tree. They give us a direct, uninterrupted view deep into ancient human history. The first of these intact packages is mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA. Instead of sitting inside the nucleus with the rest of your blended genes, this DNA lives on the outskirts of your cells, inside the cellular powerhouses. The biological rule for this package is strict. Everyone inherits it from their mothers, but only women can pass it on. This creates a straight, unbroken line of female ancestors, stretching back over thousands of years. The second sealed package is the Y chromosome. This is the specific piece of DNA that dictates male biological sex. Because only men carry it, the Y chromosome is passed exclusively from father to son. This creates a second straight, unbroken genetic line, this time tracing your male ancestors. And if you are a woman and don't carry a Y chromosome, you can still trace this paternal record by looking at the DNA test of a biological brother or father. By isolating just the far left maternal edge and the far right paternal edge of your family tree, we possess two perfectly preserved records. They remain completely untouched by the chaos of the rest of your genetic mix. But this raises a question. If these packages are passed down perfectly intact, how do we end up with those changing, highly specific codes like H1A or R1B on your test results? The answer comes down to tiny, completely harmless copying errors. Every few thousand years, as cells divide and pass this unblended DNA to the next generation, a single letter in the sequence will randomly mutate. These permanent copying errors act exactly like postal scanners. Every time a new error happens, it adds a new stamp to your genetic package's tracking number. When an ancient group migrated to a new continent or got physically isolated by a mountain range, a new mutation would naturally occur in their population. That mutation became the permanent stamp for all of their descendants. Because these mutation stamps are permanent and happen sequentially, scientists can read them backward. They provide a chronological travelogue of human expansion across the globe. That means your haplogroup code places your specific ancestors at an exact time and place during the Great Human Migration out of Africa, roughly 60,000 years ago. This journey was perilous. Your ancestors survived brutal conditions, freezing through the Ice Age and navigating dangerous bottlenecks. The DMA tracks exactly who made it. This map shows the evidence of the branching R1A and R1B migration paths across the Eurasian continent. If you carry haplogroup R1B, this specific line traces how your ancestors traveled out of Africa and established deep roots across Europe and Asia. And zooming out, this map shows the complex evidence mapping the full alphabet of Y DNA haplogroups as they spread across the entire globe. Every major haplogroup letter corresponds to a different ancestral path and a distinct geographic origin. Your haplogroup is literal geographic proof of the exact physical journey your direct ancestors undertook to survive. Today, you can share a haplogroup with millions of living people all over the world with whom you have absolutely no recent family ties. But sharing that specific tracking number means that tens of thousands of years ago, your ancestors sat around the exact same campfire. You belong to the same ancient genetic tribe. While the recent DNA smoothie makes us unique individuals, our haplogroup tracking numbers prove that if you look back far enough, every single human being traces back to the exact same starting point.